Once upon a time in a bustling city, hemmed in by towering skyscrapers, there lived a 30-year-old man named Leo. Leo was a dreamer, but his dreams felt distant and unreachable. His apartment was filled with books on success, half-finished online courses, and a whiteboard covered in grand plans that never seemed to start. He was always waiting for the perfect moment. He told himself, "I'll start my business when I have more savings, or I'll start writing my book when I feel truly inspired." This waiting game left Leo feeling stuck and frustrated. His days were a loop of routine work, followed by evenings of dreaming but not doing. He saw others around him moving forward, achieving their goals, and he felt like a ship anchored in a harbor watching other vessels sail out to sea. The gap between the life he imagined and the life he was living grew wider each day, filling him with a sense of quiet desperation. He believed that success required a huge, heroic leap, a sudden burst of genius or luck, but that moment of inspiration never came. One rainy afternoon, while scrolling aimlessly online, Leo stumbled upon an old interview with a world-renowned marathon runner. The runner wasn't a prodigy. In fact, he had been overweight and unhealthy for most of his youth. The interviewer asked him for the secret to his incredible transformation and success. The runner simply smiled and said, "There is no secret. I just decided to run to the end of my street. The next day, I did it again. Soon, I was running around the block. My only rule was to put on my shoes and take that first step out the door every single day, no matter what." These simple words struck Leo like a bolt of lightning. He looked at his whiteboard, at the overwhelming plans and impossible goals. He realized he had been trying to build a castle in the sky without first laying a single stone on the ground. The runner's story wasn't about a grand, life-altering event. It was about the quiet power of a small, consistent action. That evening, Leo erased his entire whiteboard. In the center, he wrote just one small task: write for 15 minutes. The next morning, Leo sat down and wrote. It wasn't brilliant or inspired, but he did it. The day after, he did it again. He started applying this principle to other areas of his life. Instead of build a successful online business, his goal became spend 20 minutes researching one competitor. Instead of get in perfect shape, it was do 10 push-ups. These tasks were so small they seemed almost insignificant, but they were too easy to make excuses for. There was no perfect moment needed for a 15-minute task. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Leo's 15 minutes of daily writing slowly filled a document, which grew into a chapter and then several. His 20 minutes of daily research built a solid business plan, piece by piece. The small, daily efforts were like drops of water, individually meaningless but collectively powerful enough to carve stone. He wasn't waiting for motivation anymore. The discipline of showing up each day created its own momentum. The progress was slow, almost invisible on a day-to-day basis, but when he looked back over a year, the transformation was astonishing. His friends started to notice the change. Leo was no longer the frustrated dreamer who only talked about his plans. He was a doer, a man in motion. He had finished the first draft of his book and had launched a small but growing online store. One day, a younger colleague, full of big dreams but stuck in the same trap of inaction Leo had been in, asked him, "Leo, how did you do it? When did you find the inspiration to change everything?" Leo gave a calm smile, remembering the man he used to be. He replied, "I stopped looking for it. Success isn't a flash of lightning you wait for in a storm. It's the gentle rain that falls every single day, nourishing the ground until, one day, you find yourself standing in a forest you grew yourself. The magic isn't in the grand plan. It's in the first small step you take today and the one you take tomorrow." So, what is your first step?